Sonali ma'am had her touch up.
Hello and welcome to you all present here. As you know, and we are aware of that we are going to celebrate our Edtech Fest for these 2 days, 26th and 27th. So in this series, we have different programs from different mentors, from different GEGs. So right now we have the program from GEG Noida. So GEG leader Pooja Arora, I'll hand over the stage to Pooja Arora ma'am and her co-leader Deepika Sharma. So, ma'am, the stage is all yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So, hello and good evening, everyone. On behalf of GEGs of India and GEG Noida, I welcome you all to the Edtech Weekend Fest. So, it's my privilege to initiate the session. Along with my co-leader, Deepika Sharma, we will be presenting a session on reflective teaching.
Thank you,
So,
ma'am.
once again, a heartfelt welcome to everyone. Uh, Educators, we have been hearing of NEP and metacognition from quite long. So, once I attended a session which said that it's not what we do for our children, but what we teach them to do for themselves, what that will make them successful human beings. So the same holds true for the teachers as well. So it's not what we uh, do for our teachers, but what we guide them to do and improve on their own teaching, that is going to uh, make them a better teacher. We all want to improve and we all have space for improvement. So here we are with our session on reflective teaching. Ma'am, can you please present the screen?
Yes, ma'am, sure.
So for this topic, we will take you through different subtopics. That is, what is reflective teaching? Why is it important? When to have reflective teaching? When can we reflect on our own teaching? And how it can be implemented? And last but not the least, what are the misconceptions that we need to deal about reflective practice? So I am Pooja Arora, leader GG Noida, and I have with me Deepika Sharma, co-leader GG Noida. So when
I
we
hope
are
my screen
reflecting,
is it presenting, ma'am?
not yet, ma'am, maybe in a few minutes.
Okay. Because
So when we are reflecting,
it has already started sharing. Could you please
okay,
try it on your
yeah,
end?
it's coming.
Yeah, I think it's there. Yes, yes.
It's
Okay.
coming up. It's coming up. Yes, it's there. Okay. So when we are reflecting upon something, that time what reflection really is. See, when we are standing in front of the mirror, it won't tell you that it can't do anything for you. Suppose I have to adjust my bindi, so the mirror is not going to do it for me. It can only reflect. How can I do it myself? So that is only what reflective teaching is. It involves examining one's underlying beliefs about teaching and learning and one's alignment with actual classroom practice. So, whatever we have been doing throughout our teaching process, how it can be made better. हम अपने गुरु खुद ही बन जाएं तो कितना ही बेहतर होगा. So not only uh, NEP, but National Curriculum Framework, it also recommends a shift in the teaching learning process, and that can be done by reflective teaching, where we are looking into our own processes, our own techniques, and trying to improve on our own. So, over to you, Deepika ma'am.
So, as we are taking the session on reflective teaching, so let us first discuss that why reflective teaching is important. So, until and unless we are getting a reflection from somebody who is familiar with us, maybe a student or maybe our colleagues who are taking the classes along with us. So, if the reflection is not there, then those filling gap session could not be there. So, reflection is very, very important in the academic field and in the educational era of nowadays, which not only increases the perfection and the accuracy, but it is also encouraging the innovation which a teacher can involve in her sessions. It encourages the student engagement because the teachers themselves will work on how a particular topic, how a particular content could be delivered in a better way in the next turn, which I have found it out in my own reflection process. So reflection process is not just the student reflection, it can be teacher to teacher reflection, it my own self reflection could also be there. So reflective teaching is important, which overall benefits the entire educational system and is extremely important. So, as I said, it is required for the professional development, for student teacher relationship, and to cover up the problem solving skills, which are really important for the educational field. Now the question arises when to have the reflective teaching. Is it a particular time span? Maybe during the examination, or maybe out after the examination once the assessments are done? No. Reflection is a process which is ongoing, entirely continual. It's a cycle which is needed to be repeated once a particular task is being done. So, as on my screen, it is a reflective cycle which involves first we teach, and then we self assess, then we consider what all could be the scenarios which had been missed out and practice on them, and again the testing would be there by the teaching process again. So, it's a complete ongoing process which is very, very continuous and is extremely important at every step of the lesson plans. Now, if we talk about when to reflect, there comes the three statements that the reflection can be in action, it can be on a particular action, and it can be for an action. Now, what is the difference between all these three? So, if we talk about reflection in action, so suppose there is a situation going on in the class, and a child asks me a question based on a topic, and then and there, if I reflect on that query which is being raised by the child, that is called reflection in action. Now, the other one is reflection on action. Means after taking the time span of little bit, if we are acting on a particular thing later on by reconsidering the situation and thinking about it in the near future, that is known as reflection. So let me mark my words over here. It is in the near future. Now the last and the most important one is reflection for action. So reflection for action means if we are doing suppose in a particular academic year I involved some strategy in my class for the teaching purpose, and during the entire year I got the reflection, maybe from anyone, maybe the student or maybe my colleagues, that this particular task could have been done in a better way in the next year. For future, if we are getting the reflection from someone, that is reflection for action. So it's a long term process, reflection for action. So as I said, reflection is an entirely ongoing process. On the spot reflection is needed for the near future and for the next few years. That is also for where the reflection is important. Over to you, ma'am.
So, reflection, yeah, thank you. Reflection in a true sense, we need to reflect on ourselves. So it can be individual reflection, it can be a group reflection wherein the whole department is reflecting on each other's teaching, and then it can become a systematic reflection as well, wherein we are reflecting as a whole, as a group, we are reflecting on the system, on a common practice. So, these are the different stages of reflection. When we are talking about reflective teaching, since teaching and learning is something that is very integrated, it's a close knit. So we cannot leave the learners behind. So when we start with reflective teaching and reflective learners, that completes the whole cycle. Ma'am, the next slide, please. Okay. So, when we talk about the 5 hours of reflective teaching, the first one, it's being reacting. When we immediately decide that what should be done right now. If suppose, let me take an example. I am taking a class and I tell that, okay, these are the questions for the quiz, and one by one, according to your roll number, you are going to read out, and we will discuss upon the answers. So when I say according to the roll number, you are going to read out. So the ones who have the roll number towards the end, they are not paying attention. And in that moment, if I say that, okay, randomly I can call out anyone and you will have to stand and read out the question and answer, they immediately become active. So this is reacting. When I'm reacting, and this is reflection in action. Then comes recording. So when I have to assess my own performance, how can I do that? Either I do practice sessions, or like we in our school, we do record each and every class. So that can be done. Then we need to review whatever we have recorded. If we go through it once, now this reviewing, it can be individually. I am reviewing my own session. I can seek help from my co-teacher. I can seek help from my maybe the HOD, whomsoever. So we can reflect as a group here. Then revise. What all changes do I need to do? Do I need to make after that? I need to redo some practices. Then comes what we need to rework upon. What is reworking? How will I put this in place, and what materials do I need? If I have decided upon that, okay, a particular strategy is not working with a particular class, so I need to deal with these students in a different manner. So, how do I rework upon them? And if I have come upon a decided upon an idea, okay, this is not working well with these students, I need to take it in another manner. So, what materials extra do I need for them? Do I have those resources? If not, where can I arrange them from? Then reassessing. Once I have reworked and applied that different strategy, is it working now? Or do I need to move on to something else? Or if it was working at a particular time of the year, will it work 6 months post also? So all these are the uh, 5 hours of reflective teaching. So when I talk about taking student reflection, so one method can be the students, they reflect on their own learning. So when they are reflecting on their own learning, it can be a traffic light pattern where they say that when the subject is going on, when the particular topic is going on, whether they are able to understand, and which topic they are not able to understand, even they can point out on that as well. So it can be taken in that form. Otherwise, what other way can be there? We can ask them to make thumb impressions of their own. So when they have thumb impressions on their own and the teacher is taking some concept in the class, she's putting up questions. So if they are having the green thumb, so that means yes, they have understood the concept. And if they show the red one, that means they have some doubts related to it. We can also have the parking lot strategy where talking about the offline classes which are there. So we can have a parking lot on the green boards, and they can park their questions there, which can be well answered by other students. So then and there, we are getting the student feedback. Yes, ma'am.
So far, Pooja ma'am has talked about how the reflection could be taken up from the students based on the day-to-day life and day-to-day learning process. So now comes the analysis, which we used to do, and I think we all are very much aware of. That is SWOT: strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So as a teacher, I should also be able to prepare my own SWOT. I should be able to understand what are my strengths, which could be an asset for me, what are my weaknesses which I should be working on, what all opportunities are coming to me which I can make up to the best, and what threats are there which I need to find the solutions for. So as a teacher, my own reflection as a person, that is my self reflection, SWOT analysis is a very very good method, and I think most of them are most of the viewers which are who are with us, they must be applying the same process in their own institutions as well. So this is one example of SWOT which one of the my colleague has done, and this is how they are presenting. No, needless to say, Google Slides are being prominently used for these purposes. So Google rocks. So another thing is Johari window. Now, this is also a kind of self-reflection process, which one can have to assess my own inner self, the things which are known to me, the things which are not known to me and not known to others. So Johari window is another kind of self-assessing and self-reflection tool, which can be good for you to understand your own areas of improvement and your own learning gaps. Now, other than that, during the sessions, one another thing, another kind of tool which can be used for the reflection purpose is video recording teaching practices. Now, during the sessions, whenever we take the classes on Google Meet, we if we are taking some topic, and after that, the child himself or herself will present on that particular topic, and the child is giving the reflection that how it is being done, then the teacher will be reflecting on that, that is it in the right track, is it in the same manner how it was being expected, or it has to be found out with some alternative way. So video recording sessions, they can also be revisited to have the learning gaps or maybe the areas of improvement which could be found out and would be worked on in the next few sessions. So as we came across the 5 hours, this is another very very important thing, important tool of reviewing our own practices so that we can reassess and rework on them through video recording. So Google Meet is doing serving the great purpose for video recording sessions. Now other thing which can be done, that is classroom observations. uh, During the sessions, there might be the observers in our classes, and those observers are the mentors, and the entire session is being mentored, is being watched, and then after that, the teacher who was being taking the class, the observer will be giving the direct reflection to them, and a way forward by the mentor would be suggested to the particular teacher, along with the target settings and all. So as on my screen it is clearly visible, it is a spreadsheet which is being prepared, which is being followed in our institution for the observation purpose. There the entire detail of the particular session will be there, then the way forward by the mentor would be there, then based on the way forward by the mentor, the teacher will be reflecting and will be setting the targets based on that, and after that the same topic may be combined together or maybe revisited in the class along with the evidences. So these evidences could be maybe use of any particular interactive tool for progressive learning, or maybe some any extra uh, template or infographics which could be designed on the Google tools, especially for keeping up to the mark which was somehow missed out and came out into the reflection process. So classroom observations is a very very good method for peer to peer evaluation also, and reflection process between the colleagues and the co-workers.
Okay, so when we are talking about the student feedback or student reflection, so it's not only reflection. After reflection, what needs to be done? Okay, one thing is that, okay, the student has reflected that, okay, this topic is not clear to me. So the student is going to reflect on his own learning and going to decide his own pathway for his improvement. So the student needs to write there that how is he going to change, what plan he has for his own improvement. So reflection is effective only if we are going to revisit it and we are going to uh, learn something from it. Another way of reflective teaching can be writing reflective journals. So, when a teacher is writing a reflective journal, that means there are different steps to write the reflective journal. It should be done every day. So, the teacher needs to scribble 6 minutes for in a day and write whatever happened throughout the day. Like here, you can see that the teacher has reflected that it was a good class because she was able to see that the students were participating very well that day. Now, the reason for that can be maybe she motivated them, or maybe she said that, okay, today for this period, if you are studying well, I'm going to take you in the next class, I'm going to take you outside for games. A very simple thing. So it can be anything, but it worked well. Ultimately, if the learning outcome is achieved for a class, that is a good class for a teacher. So when we are writing reflective journals, we can revisit them at any point and we can reflect upon our own teaching, our own mental state and satisfaction as well. How much did we accomplish the task that day? And was it effective or not? The next one, it can be when we are writing our lesson plans. So, how can we reflect on our lesson plans? So, when we are reflecting on the lesson plan, suppose I sit together with my department and we decide that, okay, this is the way I'm going to carry out the session. And this topic would be covered in these many days, and these are the building blocks, and these are the activities that we are planning out. Now, it may happen that during the class, I find out that there is some question, some query, or maybe some concept that is not understood well by the student, and the student is wanting to clear that doubt. So I will have to change my flow of lesson, and I will have to deal with that. So all these things also, all these questions also, if we are jotting down somewhere, so next year when I am preparing my lesson, I will keep these points in mind. So, sources of improvement can be maybe I can ask any of the student to peer teach, take up that topic, and prepare a research presentation on that topic. So, peer teaching can be also done that time. Strategies can be many, but we need to reflect how can we be a better version of ourselves. The next one, what can be done is we can have peer mentoring. Now, the only thing that we need to keep in mind is here we are trying to improve. We are not judging anyone. That should not be the mindset. It's just that I can invite someone into my class that, okay, I'm going to conduct one activity today. Please do come and give me some feedback. How can it be better, or what went well, and how can I make it better? So I can invite someone else, maybe my senior, maybe my uh, uh, HOD, or any mentor of mine, or maybe someone from outside to please guide me. And that is called peer mentoring. So, peer mentoring, it can be when the teacher uh, The colleagues only, they sit into one class and they see how the class is going on. Now, how is this going to benefit us? Again, I said that the only aim is to reflect upon our own teaching, and peer mentoring is a great tool for that.
Now, so far we have discussed so many tools which could be a great asset for the reflection process in the educational era. So now suppose the reflection is being done. Now what next? What could be the next steps which could be followed? So we have done the reflection, we have done written the reflective journal also, we have done the peer mentoring, observations, everything is being done. Now what next? What comes the next? Then comes the actual working procedure, that is need to be think. We need to think about the actual flow what we have done, and then we have to notice the patterns, uh, how the particular topic is being taken in a class. Obviously we need to assess the other teachers as well, that what is the actual strategy by so and so ABC, and then have the next upcoming ideas which could be an input at a particular step, and then read over it, because reading would be helpful in analyzing a particular situation, and the journals and the web pages. So these are the next steps which could be needed after the actual reflection is being done in the class. So Pooja ma'am, I think you would
Yeah.
be going to this.
Okay. So, when we are reflecting and the reflection is done, what next? For our improvement, what we can do is we can talk with our colleagues, with our coordinators. We can seek help from them. In what ways? अगर हमें अपने आप को इम्प्रूव करना है, हम उनसे बात करें, या जो सेशंस हम कुछ ऐसे अटेंड करें, वी कैन गो थ्रू द वेब पेजेस, द वेबसाइट्स, or we can post questions. Like we were doing our trainings as well, so that time also we used to uh, post questions and we used to disturb each other. So when we are disturbing, it's not really disturbing, it's like we are creating our own personal learning network, that's the PLN that we call. So we can think upon our own practices. Okay, today I planned this activity to be conducted this way, but I could not do it. So what might be the reason? Or if it went well, so what was the factor that worked for me today? So I need to think and reflect upon my own strategies. I should have ideas for change. Now, those ideas, if I am getting on from myself, it's very good. If not, then I can read certain books or maybe browse through some web pages for ideas, or I can talk to someone who can guide me, who can mentor me. I can ask for help. Like I said, that we can ask for help and post questions anywhere that we want. Yes, ma'am.
Now, last but not the least, the complete process of reflection being done, but there might be some misconceptions about the reflective practice, which people should have, or which might be inculcating in the minds of the people around. So this is actually being tested in our actual area of work, that yes, these misconceptions exist. So sometimes people believe that why reflection is needed, it's a very very long process, I do not have time. So these are the few things which come to our mind whenever we think about that, yes, this uh, strategy of mine needs reflection. So it comes, yes, it's not worthy, how can I do it, it's not needed, I do not have time, time kahan se nikale, time milta hi nahi hai, and so on. So these are the misconceptions which need to be eradicated. Yes, reflection is needed for our own professional development and for our own growth even. So another thing which can come into the minds of the people around who are viewing us is it is not only focused on me, it does not directly affect my students. No, not at all. So far we have discussed many examples of the live class in which the reflection was actually directly affecting the students life. Students interaction is being improved whenever we inculcate these kind of reflective practices in the sessions. uh, in the previous few minutes we discussed that reflection could be from our peers, from our co-teachers, maybe the higher management people, or maybe anyone. So sometimes it comes to our mind that reflection is a negative process, कि अगर उसे रिव्यू करेंगे तो कुछ ना कुछ गलत निकल के बाहर आएगा. लेट्स नॉट डू दैट. Leave it. No, reflection is not a negative process. It's not about pinpointing someone. It is about just finding out the areas of improvement. So together, if we work on something uh, for the betterment, obviously, how can that thing be a negative process? So reflection is not at all a negative process. It is for the betterment of the educational field. It is for the betterment of your own self. Now reflection is a solo process. How will I know that I have improved? So for that we have given the solution uh, of peer mentoring, of observations in the classes, which directly involve the people around us who can help us in assessing our own growth graph, because it's not a solo process, it's a teamwork which is directly involved in the reflection process. So these are the things which can come into an individual's mind if they talk about that. Yes, reflection is needed. So reflection is needed at various steps. It's a continual process which is required for every individual being for their own growth. So that's all from GG Noida. I think it was a great session, and we have discussed many things about reflective teaching, that how it is needed, why it is needed. So as Pooja ma'am said, that NEP is also recommending on vocational training of the students of a variety of subjects and all. So if a particular subject being suppose many of our viewers must be the academic heads. So if you think that in incorporating a new subject in the institution, is it working or not, for that subject even you need a reflection. So for that reflection, try on your own strategies, how the reflection could be taken out, that yes, so and so strategy by me is helpful for me as an individual and for my own institution where I'm working. So, reflective teaching and a learning process is very much needed for every person. Over to you, Pooja ma'am.
Yeah, I would just like to add on before we open up for the Q&A. Uh, we can also have a self reflection and professional development form wherein the teachers are filling up that form, and they might be having some days where they have where they are reflecting upon their own teaching. And then it can also be done that certain parameters are there on which they set on their own benchmarks, that okay, next time this is my uh, aim, that okay, I'm going to move on to this. So we need to have a complete rubrics for everything. Before that, I will also like to mention what NEP says, that we are talking about metacognition here. So, metacognition is what? Thinking about how to think and learning about how to learn. So, if we can understand that, so that means we would be a better version, and we will be on the growth path. Now, we can also motivate the teachers to have their own growth journey, their own growth curve, decide upon themselves that, okay, what is my growth path and how I'm going to move to from stage one, or maybe say level two to level four, and then to level five. How to do that? So, everyone should have their own growth plans there. So I can see on the screen That is the SRPD form that we have, the self reflection and professional development form that we do fill up. So, this is just a form that we have in our school wherein we get this filled it up for this is done thrice a year, and we have different pointers here, different parameters here with evidences. We need to uh, project everything whether we are following the progressive pedagogies or not, and this way we are able to jot down many points which we might not uh, even think of later. So it becomes a digital repository of the best work that you have done, and then it also guides you how to move ahead of that. So that is why that's the beauty of this form, and I believe everyone would be in their own institutions have must be having something of this sort, where you give chance to the teachers to improve upon themselves and better their own teaching strategies. So we open up for the question answers, if any, from the audiences. Sir, do we have any questions?
Pooja ma'am, yes, there is a question from Rihanna Madok. Can you can your PPT be shared with us?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Sure. The
Yes.
resources we have planned for, they are getting again, a repository is being made for the entire EdTech Fest. So resources are there, and yes, it would be provided if needed.
And there is no question, ma'am. And this session was excellent session, and we have been benefited by your presentation, the refractive teaching, how to make it so refractive. So, very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
So, hello everyone. I'm Shahila Chandrasekhar from GEG Vellore, and I'm so very excited to be connecting with all of you for this Edtech Fest conducted by the GEGs of India. So, today I am going to be presenting one of my favorite tools, that is Padlet. So a lot of you must be already using the tool Padlet, and it happens to be a very, very popular tool among students and educators across the globe. So there are a variety of reasons for its popularity. Not only are the templates very interesting and attractive, it is, I think, one of the most user friendly and effective collaborative tool that is available. So, my purpose of today's session is going to be in helping all of you understand the different ways in which the tool Padlet can be used. So, a lot of classroom activities that we engage in, uh, like assessments, conducting reading recitations, and a lot many more. If I tell you that many of them could be easily done with the help of a Padlet, would you be surprised? Uh, so that's the purpose, as I said, of today's session. We were going to actually look at what are the different ways in which this tool can be used. So I am going to be actually starting with the session with what is a Padlet and how to access it for the new users. But as I said, the major focus of the session is going to be different ways in which this tool is going to be used. Okay, so if you all are ready, let's get started. So let me begin by first telling you how to access a Padlet. It is actually very simple. You can go for the Padlet application, which is available for both Android as well as iOS, or simply go to padlet.com on your browser. So when I go to padlet.com, this is the page that opens up. And if you're a first time user, obviously you know that you need to first sign up. Okay, so when you click on sign up, you get three options here. Either you can sign up with Apple or with Google or with your Microsoft account, or you can just sign up with any email. Okay, so after you have signed up, this is the page that you get. So this is my dashboard. Um, and as you can see over here, there are already two Padlets that I have created, which you can see on my wall. And in addition to this, on the left hand side here, you can see a whole lot of uh, uh, features, tools available. And on the right hand side, you have two important options. One is join a Padlet, and the other one is make a Padlet. Okay, so as an educator, um, if I want to create a Padlet on which I want my students or other participants to contribute, I would go for make a Padlet, or join a Padlet would be when I would want to join a Padlet which is created by somebody else. Okay, so right now I am going to go for make a Padlet. So when I click on make a Padlet, so you see that there are a whole lot of options which are available. These are various formats. In all, there are 7 formats which are available, and each of these 7 formats have their unique features. Okay, so most of the time for normal process, we use the wall format just to get inputs from different participants, maybe in a meeting or in a webinar or anything like that. So most of the time we use the wall format, but then as I said, each of these formats have its unique features. Okay, so um, we will be talking about these a little later, but then let's say for now I'm going to go for the wall format, okay, which is the most commonly used one. So as you can see here, there is a default background that was chosen, and I kind of like it, so I'm going to retain this. So here you have the options to personalize it. So I'm going to give a title to it. So let's say this is for class 7th, and description is where you can add the instructions. Maybe children, I would, students would like to get you get your inputs on the topic, why is it important to save the environment. So this is the instructions that I want to give to my students. Icons, if you want to go for emojis or anything like that, you can use that option. And then you have here, as you can see, the wallpaper. Right now it is showing you the default one that is chosen, but again you have a whole lot of options, and that's a beautiful aspect about Padlet, that the backgrounds and the wallpapers are simply fantastic. Okay, and the color scheme, I'm going to go for the white one, the default one that is chosen. You have 4 options for font, and whether you want the participant's name to be displayed, you can select this. Where do you want the new posts to appear? Do you want it to appear on the top, the latest ones, or do you want them to go sequentially down? That you may decide and choose accordingly. Whether you want the viewers to comment on the post, in that case you can select this option. Okay, whether you want the participants to grade it, now the grading could be done in the form of either likes or stars, you can choose that. Okay, now require approval, this is a very important feature. So if I select this, that means if somebody is contributing to my Padlet, it will not be published unless and until I approve that post. Okay. So we will see how this can be used in our classroom teaching a little later. Okay. Then filter profanity. So if there are any bad words, it will automatically replace it with the other words. Um, so that if you want, if you think it is required, you can select that. And I think these many features are the basic ones that I think will be required for anybody to use a Padlet. So I'm done with the settings that I wanted. So now I click on next, and here it is. It says that you're all set to start posting. So I'm going to click on this. So this is my Padlet that is created. Okay. So here, how do I post? Okay. So first thing is I can double click anywhere on the wall, and I know that I get this option. So I can decide the subject. In the subject, if I want my name to be written, I want, you can instruct this to the students that in the subject column, you could write your own name so that you know this post is coming from whom. Okay. And then the students' inputs. I think it is important, and it also allows you a whole lot of other features, like if you want a file to be uploaded, could be an image, a document from your device, that can be done with the help of this. Then whether you want to take a photo, attach a link, whether you want to search for an image, so it allows you to search for images, GIF, Spotify, whole lot of things. Okay. In addition to that, look at this. Okay. So all of these options which are available. So the best part about Padlet is that what I'm using now is the free version. So you have the free version and the pro versions or the upgraded versions. The free version is called as the neon version, and now I think the nomenclature is for the upgraded versions. You have gold and platinum. So the free version has all the features that are available for the pro versions as well. The only thing is, with the help of the free version, you will be able to make only 3 padlets at a time. Okay. Whereas with the pro versions, the upgraded versions, I think the uh, gold one allows you to make 20 padlets, and the platinum one allows you to go for unlimited padlets. And obviously, with that comes the storage capacity as well. So I think even that is more in case of the pro versions. Okay, so the media storage is what I'm talking about. So as an educator, I've been using Padlet, and I work with the free version. So I didn't face any particular challenge as such, because the moment I'm done with using 3 Padlets, what I do is I delete the ones which are not needed, which allows me to go for more Padlets in that case. So I also Padlet also gives you the option of downloading a given Padlet, because if you want it as an evidence before you delete it, so you can download it, and downloading can be done in the form of PDF and a whole lot of other options. So all that is there. So I don't think it is a challenge in any which way in using the free version. But then if you think you need to use more than 3 Padlets at the same time, then obviously you can go for the pro versions, which I think it's only 99 rupees per month, which is hardly anything. And it gives you a whole lot of Padlets to be able to create. Okay. So here, this is the first post that I made. So likewise, you have a plus sign here at the bottom. So you click on that, that will allow you to post, or you double click anywhere on this wall, it will allow you to post. So that's as simple as that. So you can upload a video, you can upload a photo, you can have an audio, you can have video, a link, anything that you think of. And Padlet allows everything that is possible, and in such a user friendly manner. Okay. Now, after that is done, let's now explore the tools which are available here. So, as you can see here, so this option is how you want to share this created Padlet with your participants or with your students. Okay. So, I want my participants to be able to write and to share their input. So, by default, it goes to visitors can write. I can change the options. So, you can see here private, so this would be kept hidden from the public. Even if somebody manages, they should not be able to access. So if I want that, so I would click on that. Whether I need to protect it with a password, unless and until give the password to the users, they will not be able to access this Padlet. Secret, if I want to keep this Padlet secret, and I choose this. And public is when I want it to be accessible to anybody. So I select this. Okay. So visitor permissions, as I said, I want them to be able to only view the post, or I want them also to contribute to the post, or I want them to be collaborating with me and give them the editing option as well. So I can choose all of that. So right now, the I'm going to go for can write because I want all my students to be able to contribute to this particular Padlet. Okay, so these are the options that I'm going to go for, and now I go for back. All right, so that's the privacy setting. And as in order to share it to your participants, you have a whole lot of options over here. So you can copy the link and share the link, get the QR code, share the QR code. You can embed this in your blog or on your website, email it to the participants, share it on the Facebook page, share it on Twitter, share it through your Google Classroom. Okay, and this is what I was already telling you, that in case you want to save a copy of this Padlet with you before you delete it, so in that case you have the option of saving it as an image, as a PDF, as a CSV file, or as an Excel spreadsheet, or you also can print this Padlet. So once I am done with using all my 3 Padlets of my free version, all that I do is, have a copy as a PDF downloaded for my record, and then I delete the Padlets and go for creating 3 more Padlets. That's as simple as that is. Okay, so this is how you share your Padlet. And okay, so now let me help you in understanding what are the different features of the various formats. Okay, so this is the Padlet that we had just seen. Uh, okay, so these are some of the posts on this Padlet. What I'm going to do is now go to another Padlet. So as you can see here, I already have created 3 Padlets, and which means that if I need to create another Padlet, I may have to delete one of these. So let me just tell you how I do that. So I click on these 3 dots here and then click on delete Padlet, and then it is going to ask me for a confirmation. So there is a number, a code that I need to enter here, which says 7156 in this case, and I click on delete. So you see here that it has deleted the Padlet. Okay. Now before deleting, if I wanted to keep a record of it, I could have downloaded it as a PDF or as an image, or taken a printout of it, whichever is your requirement. Okay. So right now, what I'm going to go for is select this Padlet which I have created. Okay, this is what I have. And what I'm going to show all of you is how do I change the format. Okay, and here when I click on the 3 dots here, it gives you the option of change format here. So I had told you in the beginning that there are 7 options available, and we chose the wall format in the beginning. And now I would like you all to know this format, which is called as the canvas format. Okay, so I have changed the format of my Padlet, and let me now tell you how does this help. Okay, so I am going to write. Uh, let's say save pets. Okay, and I want an image also. Oh, see, it's automatically giving you the title. All right, so I've chosen an image and I can add the text that I need. Okay, pet friendly societies. Okay, and I publish it. Okay, so remember we're using the canvas format, and how does that help? Now look at this. So let's say this Padlet is created about pets, and these are the inputs from my students. Okay. So if I want to show a linkage, okay, so I click on the three dots here and it says connect to a post. See, this is so beautiful. And I want this because this is linked to this particular post that is already here. I want to show a connection, a relationship between them. So I click on this. So now you see it shows a link between this post and this one. Okay. So if I add another one, let's say, um, so let's say water, and I'm adding an image. Let's say I go for a GIF, okay, and I publish it. So you can see here, if I want to show a linkage, okay, so if I want to show that there is a connection between this and this one, so you see, so this can be used very nicely for establishing or explaining relationships between concepts. So you can make a concept map using the canvas format. Okay. And as I had already mentioned, you can always change the formats as per your requirement. Now, if I want to go back to the wall format, so let's see, the same posts are now aligned like this. Okay, so depending upon your requirement, educators, you can choose the format because each of these formats have a purpose. Okay, so you can make concept maps and establish relationships and connections between the concepts by using the canvas format. I hope this was useful for all of you. Okay, now the next thing that I want you all to know is uh, yeah, another very interesting feature is the shelf format, and this is one of my favorites. Okay, so I'm going to go for the shelf format first. Okay, now see here. So let's say I want my students. So section one, I'm going to name it as animals. Section two, plants. In section three, let's say microorganisms. You can add as many sections as you want. And how is this going to help? So when you share this Padlet, which you have created with the section headings, and then you share it with your students, now your students will choose, like if they want to add about plants, they will add it under this heading. So let's say if I have a student writing that they can prepare their own food. Okay, so you see the various attributes of plants can be written under plants. Okay, for microorganisms, so let's say I'm talking about bacteria. I want the students to write about or to know about bacteria, and I want an images of the bacteria. Okay, so students can add images that goes under the section bacteria. Okay, so Options are numerous. It is up to your wisdom as to how you choose to use this shelf format. I find it extremely useful to help students understand classification, to help students understand properties. So, if I am teaching metals and non metals, I just put two sections, name it as one as metals and the other one as non metals, and ask the students to write the properties under the respective heading. So you also know whether students have understood it correctly or are there any misconceptions in their mind. Okay. So I hope you like this format, which is called as the shelf format. Can be used for any subject, science, math, English, social studies, any subject, and for a variety of concepts. Okay. So that's about the shelf format. So now, let's say I want my students to understand sequencing or prioritizing or simply understanding timelines, sequence of events that have happened, or let's say I'm an English teacher, a language teacher, and I want them to learn to construct a story. Okay, so would all that be possible on a Padlet? Yes, of course. And let's see how. So I'm going to select create a Padlet. So let's say this is the Padlet that I have created. And how do I get timelines? So I again go to these three dots and go for this magic command, which is change format. So here again, from these formats, I believe you know it by now that I'm going to select the timeline format. And this is how it changes. So you can see here at the bottom, you have a line on which you can have the sequence of events. Okay, so again, how do I do this? So as a teacher, let's say I want them to construct a story. Okay, so once upon a time, there lived a prince. Okay, and I think I should be adding story writing prince. Let's see if it works. Oh, all right. Just to make it a little more attractive, and then I publish this. Ah, great. So now, then I add another event. So this is again from me, and it says he met an old lady in the forest. Okay, so forest, an image or a GIF. Oh, this is nice. I'm going to take this and publish. All right, and then again, maybe another prompt, and it says they then lived happily ever after. That's how all the stories end, don't they? Okay. So these are the prompts from the teacher. Now I share this Padlet with my students, and you know by now how we do that. So you click on this share option, and then you have a whole lot of options here. Either copy the link and share it with the students, get the QR code, or email it, share it on the Google Classroom, a whole lot of options. Okay. So now, what is important for you to know here is, now when this Padlet is accessed by the students and they add their posts, okay, their inputs. So let's say this is from Sia, and she says that the old lady was cunning. Okay. Now, Sia would be able to adjust and decide where she wants the post to be, or she could create the post exactly where she wants it to be. So let's say there's a student who wants to add something here between once upon a time there lived a prince and between he met an old lady in the forest. So you click here and then you write. So let's say this is Neeti and she wants to write maybe he had 7 sisters. Publish. Okay. So you see, it goes here. So what have we done? We've just created a simple Padlet with the option of timeline format, and we've created prompts and shared it with the students. And it is the imagination of the students, and that'll help them in actually constructing, building up a story. So the same format could be used by a social studies teacher. So if the teacher wants the students to revise or recapitulate maybe a sequence of events, maybe about the French Revolution or the World War, okay, I'm just giving some instances here. So you could just create these prompts and share it with the students, and they'll be able to either sequence it, arrange it, or create their posts at the proper place. So now to the final part of my presentation, and I am going to present a very, very amazing aspect about Padlet, and which is going to be really useful for, I think, particularly social studies teachers. So let's see what is that. Okay, so for that, I have to create a Padlet, and let's say I want to teach students about different places on map, or I want them to give information about the places that they visited in their last vacation. So how do I do that? So this is the paddle that I created, and I choose the format to, yes, you guessed it right, it is the map format. Okay, and you see the magic. Okay, so I get the map format here. So what I'm going to do now is actually change it to the map style that I require. So I'm going to change the settings of my map background, and I think I would want to go for this one, the usual one. Okay, I think this will work best. Yes. Okay. All right, and I save it. So this has become my background. Okay, and now what I do is I will now share this with my students. Okay, so when I'm sharing it, once they get it, let's say this is how they make the entries. So somebody visited the Taj Mahal, let's say, and okay, a whole lot of thing coming here. Taj Mahal, Agra, and the student also wants to attach a picture. So they can upload directly a picture that they have in their device, their family photo uh, here in this destination, or they may just choose from the web. Okay, and the details they may enter here, and then they publish it. See how this appears. Okay, and then let's say let me go for Vietnam maybe. Again, I would like to choose one from the web. Okay, so I think this works well. So whatever descriptions that needs to be given. Okay, so you see how we can use the map format, and you can enlarge it or decrease it to choose your requirement. Isn't this amazing? Okay, so these are different ways in which this amazing tool called Padlet can be used. I hope all of you will explore these options further and use it